Well, when Jessie retired, a leaflet went out. I think it was one of the time and talent things from the stewardship campaign. And 3 of us marked on the bit that said, were we interested about helping with the club? Yes, we were. And the 3 of us came down here. And somehow a year later, I was the leader, not having intended to be at all. And when I started, I was told that I would have to have Jessie's whistle because nobody would listen to me. But I refused to use the whistle, and I just bang on the floor with a stick if I need to get anyone's attention. And they will listen for about 2 minutes, and then they're off again, but we seem to manage. And we've started having lunches, and they thoroughly enjoyed them the first winter. About 40 came for lunch once a fortnight. So in the summer we decided to carry on. We went all through last summer. Then the Monday lunch club started doing it as well, so now there are actually 2 lunch clubs, one every week and one once a fortnight. And we've got about 40 members, and we have 2 or 3 outings a year, plus a birthday party, plus a Christmas party. And entertainment every week, which ranges from keep fit exercises to film shows and musical entertainment. So going back about 25 years ago, there were 1 or 2 senior citizens who played in our church tennis club. I think it was 2 nights a week. We used to have a regular booking for 2 courts at Hayne Park, and you would have to go very early to get a game and sit and wait. And I went up, and Tom very kindly offered to teach me tennis, and that was how we met.
Because I joined the club in 1952. It was Park Lane Tennis Club, so that wasn't just intended purely for Park Lane members. We did in fact book the court for 4 nights a week. There were 2 courts, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday and Saturdays. For those of us who are keen, we also played on Sunday afternoons. We had a tremendous amount of fun in those days. Not only did we belong to 2 Norwich leagues, that's the Fleur-de-Lis and the Marengo, we also used to have our own tournaments, American tournaments, on a Saturday, where we used to take our tea up there, have a great deal of fun. It wasn't intended as a club where where the standard was the important thing. The social event was the important thing, although we did have our little battles from time to time with those who wanted to make sure that we were top of the league. They didn't usually win those battles. I joined the tennis club in, I think it was early 53, and then I showed an interest in joining the choir. I was always very nervous about asking things, so eventually Mother one day dragged me by the arm up to Bill Martin and said he wants to join the choir, and that's when my choir career started. That was when I was 17 years old. I was very heavily involved with the tennis club and the choir until national service interrupted. For most of my time in national service, I was posted very, very near home, which is Coltishall. So that meant that some evenings I was able to cycle in and go along to the tennis club and then cycle back again. And then for any important choir events where we were doing something special, I came in for that. And indeed, one year I had to ask special permission not to go on an Air Force parade, but to come here. And that did cause significant problems as far as the Air Force was concerned, but in the event they gave way. In 1956, finished national service, and Derek Pegram came up to me and said, I've got a job for you, a little job for you to do in the Boys Brigade. I'd never heard of Boys Brigade then, I didn't know what it was about. And I resisted for several months. But in early 57, I said, all right, then I'll come along. And Derek said, well, I just want you to do the books. And from there on, things just developed significantly until I was involved in doing assistant secretary for the battalion, also Duke of Edinburgh's award officer for the battalion as well. And at that time we did very well in terms of Duke of Edinburgh's award, because we managed to get 5 boys up to gold standard. And indeed I went with Brian Butcher to Buckingham Palace when he received his gold award. We also had a very, very strong table tennis team, and I can't remember the year at the moment, but we did in fact get through to the national finals for the boys' brigade, where we came third. Quite an eventful weekend in that the team were driven up by Brian, who was then a staff sergeant and too old to play. But there's a carload of supporters went up, and we left Norwich at 10 o'clock at night on the Friday. And we took 2 tents with us, and about 1 o'clock in the morning we were wondering where we were going to get a site to pitch our tents, and there was a big house nearby with a big garden, so we knocked on the door and said could we camp on the lawn, and the poor lady I think was too frightened to say no, so we camped on the lawn. We struck camp about 6 o'clock in the morning to go on to Louth where the championships were. There we had a weakened team because Martin Harvey was unable to play, so we didn't have a full strength team, but we did eventually come third. But we were what you might call the English champions. Clearly, when we first got stuck into doing Duke of Edinburgh's Award, no one in this area had had any experience of training boys, or indeed of actually doing any expedition in Gold Award country, which was really regarded as being the Lake District, Peak District, or in the Scottish and Welsh Highlands. So what we did, we got the Nottingham Battalion to do the training for us and the testing for us. We went up for a couple of weekends, so the boys had some training, and then a specific date was set when they would be going up for the actual test, which was an Easter. Now in those days you had to have a minimum of 6 boys to go on an expedition. Various map references were set, and the boys had to go through those particular map reference points within a given period. And if there were any problems, then search parties would go and look for them. Now it's particularly hair-raising on this one because William Cannell and David Allen, and I can't remember the third one, I think it must have been Brian Butcher. They were 3 Norfolk boys, and they were paired up with 3 boys from Nottingham. And this particular weekend it rained, it snowed, it hailed. And unfortunately the 3 Nottingham boys gave up halfway through the course. And we had the situation of boys, our boys, being near a telephone as on part of their course, ringing Norwich, asking what they should be doing. And our instruction was, well, you must keep going. Now at the end of the time, Nottingham Battalion were very, very hard on these awards. And they said, sorry, the minimum is 6 people, your people are going to fail. But we were able, after a long argument, able to persuade Nottingham that this should not be the case. And eventually those 3 were able to be awarded their gold awards. I think St. Peter's Guild was formed in about 1968, and I think Wilf and Babs were get it started. And they were concerned that there were not very many facilities for the younger people to get together. And so there's quite a number of young marrieds formed the group, and I think there must have been somewhere about 20 to 24. We started to meet on, I can't remember whether it's fortnightly or monthly.
Fortnightly, I think.
Fortnightly, at various people's houses, and or going out for trips or social events or all sorts of things just to get together.